Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news involving Lonzo Ball. Listen, this is serious business. Also, his brother Liangelo Ball. We are about to witness these guys like we have never seen them before. I know that everybody pretty much is excited for this, but Lonzo Ball is coming out with a podcast. And it's called "What an Experience." Like I said, this is we're gonna finally get a chance to, I believe, get the questions that we wanted answered. Everybody wants to know what's going on with Lonzo, what's going on with the recovery. Will you be back next season? What happened in Mexico? What's going on with the Jalisco? I think that we are finally gonna figure out what's going on, the latest on what's happening. And like I said, I'm just very excited because number one, you have all of these people starting these podcasts, and it's about time for the Ball brothers, who I believe, um, if like I said, to me personally, popped a lot of what's going on off. What you seeing even with the summer league, when it was such a movie. Like when the last time outside of Zion, he resurrected it, but the summer league has just been just sorry, ever since what's going on with Lonzo. How they shut down the summers with Jello. Just I think their story is so huge. I think they need a podcast so you can hear it from them. You so much hearing from all these other people, and now we are finally going to hear it from Lonzo. I do see that they're going to be also commenting on what's going on and around the league. And Lonzo Ball, his basketball IQ. We talk about what's going on with some of these other shows. We talk about JJ and these guys getting praised. I can't wait till people could get a closer look into the basketball IQ of Lonzo Ball. I'm a firm believer that I believe children need to study the game of Lonzo Ball. If you're a young basketball player, especially a point guard, you need to be evaluating the game of Lonzo. Liangelo Ball. It was a rehabilitation process. These are the questions that people gonna want answered, and they're also doing it with their childhood friend Demo. And also another guy. And we're gonna be breaking down a lot of things from this podcast, so you don't want to miss it. And Lonzo, he dropped this like a bomb on everybody. I just got to keep it real. This just popped off out of nowhere. I don't think nobody saw this coming. From Lonzo Ball. Um, he talked about the Lakers. You understand? I heard that Jello discussed where he believed Lonzo should go. Pardon me, not Lonzo. Pardon where LeBron should go. So you're gonna hear them weighing in on things. And when you have a podcast, you understand. Before I get into when you have a podcast, Lonzo Ball first was on Trey Young's podcast. You see Stephen A. Smith. These guys just able to run amok on that podcast. Stephen A. Smith has been going off. Now you are going to finally hear these guys firing back at a level that we haven't seen. It Gone are the days of trying to run over the ESPN and things like that. You see what's going on with Brunson. I know a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, he's not playing right now." The haters are going to come out tenfold at what's going on with Lonzo. But at the end of the day, you really can't say anything. He's been active. If you've been following his rehab, it's been very rigorous. He's been knocked down and came back. You understand? He's had some setbacks, but as far as right now, everything is in play for Zoe to get back. And I can't wait till we hear it from Lonzo Ball himself. I don't believe you come out with this podcast if the recovery is not going well. Trust me. I've studied the game of Lonzo Ball. I believe that the way things are moving, I think this is good publicity, even though they don't really need it. I think that this is going to open up the door for, you know, to get the big baller brand and for these guys to all speak. I wouldn't be surprised if you see LeVar on the show. Obviously, Mello, and you're not going to get Lonzo and Jello and Mello an element with a, or maybe with a Stephen A hosted. I hope that Lonzo, we finally hear what Lonzo Ball feels about the Stephen A. Smith situation. What's going on with Chicago. And like I said, Lonzo, to me personally, I think he'll be ready to go for training camp. We heard all his advanced, workouts have been accelerated. So these are the questions that I have. And I'm pretty sure that's what everybody else has. And overall, we want to hear it. But Josh Hart, Brunson, these guys started a podcast and they're still playing. So clearly this is the new way of the era. Everybody's gonna have a podcast. You understand, especially if you're a professional athlete. Guys are starting early. You see Paul George taking it to the next level. Where you clearly see that this is where they're gonna be when it's all done. Guys are going to be in the podcast game and they're starting early. Once they get knocked out the playoffs, they're getting right on the computer to run the podcast. So these are things that I'm evaluating. You understand? And clearly, there's a new day and a new era in sports media where these guys are going to take the mantle of their own. They're not going to allow um, anybody to tell them anything. But nonetheless, man, the newest episode of this situation with Lonzo, this podcast is dropping literally in a few hours. And like I said, we're gonna be breaking down the first episode. Like I said, I know everybody's ecstatic, to hear this news coming from Lonzo and Jello and the whole Ball family. But like our report is called The Wave Show. Everybody is going to be following this show, just trying to figure out what's going on and getting the latest. They're going to have also a social media link. You don't want to miss that as well. And the other guy's name is Ant Salzar. So you don't want to miss that as well. I'm very excited for this because, like I said, it's been a long time coming, and people want Lonzo content. People want it, and they don't want to hear it from a Billy Donovan perspective, a fixed media perspective. I'm just sick of all of these other guys. Like I said, that I just going to go back to the LeBron JJ podcast. Um, JJ is receiving a lot of credit for his IQ, and I don't believe. Last time I checked, he was just playing in the league. Um, I just don't see many players in the league with a higher IQ than Lonzo, and I hope that everybody get the opportunity to witness it firsthand. I'm gonna leave it at that. It's Flight Sports TV. You better be on the lookout. Peace and love. You already know what it is. It's Flight Sports TV.